Okay, in this segment of our movie explaining the universal cold control, I'm kind of going to just go over some general troubleshooting information. Here we're working on an AMS machine, and this has an electronic control board. So just very important, if you're not that familiar with these, you want to read the manual. A lot of machines that have the control boards are ideal for this because they would have a temperature probe. Part of the control board would turn on a relay. So if several parts fail, using this for troubleshooting is simple, and you can kind of get your machine up and going while you're waiting on your replacement parts. This machine here is kind of typical that it's going to have a grounded plug. Majority of the machines that we're going to have in this video will have this, but not all of them. And when you buy this part, we kind of give you several different cords, so you're able to have just one of these devices and get your machines up and going. In this case, I've unplugged this. The machine is currently powered. And I just kind of want to just show you something just for your own information. When I plug this in, typically I would expect this to come on because this is an outlet. Now, a lot of boards are going to have one or two door switches like this. So this machine has this door switch as well as one on the door. So when these switches open, it will open the power. So you may not have this come on. That is just kind of giving you an indication of what could be wrong. And in any case, when this machine is closed, the control board sometimes will wait, up to 5 minutes or 10 minutes to turn on the refrigeration system, just because it doesn't want to damage the compressor. So just when, if you're plugging this in here and you don't get power, that will help you with some troubleshooting information that the board could be bad or a door switch. So, that's not necessarily a bad thing when you plug this in. Basically, here's a quick explanation of how this device would be used in an AMS that you were trying to get up and going in an emergency situation. So I'm going to plug the compressor directly here. And also to some of these machines, the fan motors will be on a different circuit. So this right here is really only going to turn on the compressor. So the fan motor for the compressor has to be working, and then all the other fans need to as well. This right here has a very substantial length on the temperature probe. So this is going to go, so here's the original one. So this part could be bad or another part of the refrigeration system. So my goal is I usually try to find where the manufacturer placed the temperature probe. And this one is a very long one. So I'm going to put this back in the same area. And just for those working on it, I've removed the cover from the refrigeration system just so this movie goes a little quicker. So I'm just going to put this back here in the same location. And essentially, I'm going to, run my wire straight through here just to keep the air clean. The big thing when you're getting our cold control, one of the parts is going to be a very heavy gauge power cord that's going to plug in here to supply power. So sometimes what I'll do, I'll actually plug this directly into the wall to see if the compressor comes on, because I know it absolutely should at this point. And then if you intend on leaving this in the machine while you get your replacement parts, you're going to need to route this through the back of the machine to an open outlet. For this one single machine, you would have two cords plugged into the wall. So this would go directly, the power for the refrigeration system is going to be powered directly by this cord and controlled by this box. So again, once you get your replacement parts, you'll replace them. So here, I'm going to plug this in. Just for testing purposes, I always plug this direct into the wall to see if the compressor comes on and cools. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that in, and then you'll be able to see the display come on. Okay, so at this point, I've plugged it in, and I'm getting my display. So that's giving me the current temperature reading. And just as a bit of troubleshooting advice, if this temperature probe is unplugged, it's going to give you your E-error code. So if you plug this in and it's beeping, you need to go ahead and plug this in. And so at this point now, this has fired up the refrigeration system, so it's cooling, so I know everything is working. Running all over. In this segment of the movie, I'm going to be installing this in a Royal Vendors stack machine. This machine is controlled by a control board, so it has additional features that you need to be aware of. The temperature probe, the relay, the door open, and the control board can make the refrigeration system seem like it's not working. So using this, you're going to be able to determine if it's working or not. For this particular machine, and very typical on Dixie Narco and other soda machines, in the left they're going to have where you can plug and unplug the refrigeration system. So basically what I'm trying to do is plug this directly into this controller to see if it works or not. So what I'm doing, I'm going to plug this in. This very heavy-duty long cord is included with the kit, and for this particular machine, it's actually, the stack machines is typically easy to feed it through the back. There's plenty of access holes to do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm basically at this point going to plug this into a wall outlet just to do my testing, because if I plug this in and the compressor doesn't come on, then I know the problem is with the compressor unit or the refrigeration system and has nothing to do with the electronics. So one of the big features of this is it kind of helps you rule out whether it's the system, the electronics. If it is the electronics, this can be used temporarily until you've replaced the bad part. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this in, and you'll see the display come up. Okay, so at this point, and this is true, it's 104 degrees where I'm working. It's outside in August. This is showing the temperature probe as 104 degrees. So it's when I plug this in directly, the compressor is turned on. The other thing that you need to be aware of, this has a very long temperature probe, so this could be used in your refrigerated machines as well as your soda machines. This right here, to do this installation correctly, you're going to want to take this plate off. This must absolutely be in the cold section of the machine. And basically what you could do, this gray wire here is typically on the existing temperature probe. So you just want to follow this back where the machine's temperature probe is placed, and place this one. And then this wire, you want to bundle nicely, keep it with this system. Put in the replacement parts, and everything's working. This could be taken out and used to help you troubleshoot and fix your next machine. Okay, today I'm going to kind of show you another one of the installations for our universal refrigeration controller. This particular machine is from a Siega office deli, and basically the information here you could apply to many other refrigeration systems. Again, this is popular with this type of refrigeration system. The reason is if your control board is bad and it doesn't turn on the refrigeration system, this is going to do a bypass, so you'll be able to control it. Another important feature, this particular machine here has a relay, as well as this right here goes to a temperature control. So basically there's 3 or 4 parts that can all be replaced with one universal part. So it makes it easy either while you're waiting for the lower cost replacement parts, or if you just want to install this and get your machine up and going immediately. This particular one has harnesses made specific for the Siega. This is also kind of available as a generic kit, so if you just work on vending machines or refrigerated coolers, ice machines, etc., you could use our generic harnesses, but this is popular, so we made our own connectors. Basically, for this particular machine, I'm going to go ahead and mount this. I'm going to mount it on the side right here. When you give thought to doing it, you don't want this to be too close to your compressor that's going to get hot. Also, too, that this section right here is sliding into a compartment, so you can't have anything coming up higher than this. So if you're working on a different model machine that's similar, these instructions are going to be a huge help, but just take into mind that when you slide it in, you don't want to mount this so that it will interfere. Here, I guess it includes Velcro, so we're going to peel the back of the Velcro. And for this particular machine, I've done these a bunch of times, so I'm going to mount this one right here on the side, and I'm going to just kind of click it right here. And you have access to seeing the display and the temperature, and then your cords are all easy to get to, and it's not too close to the compressor. So I'm going to set my temperature probe down. Alright, so now I've mounted it here. The first plug I'm going to connect, the male plug that's attached to this controller, plugs into this connector here, and then you kind of are going to want to dress these harnesses out of the way. This harness right here is going to plug directly into the machine harness, so basically very easy. You're just going to plug these 2 parts in. So this harness, I'm just going to kind of put it down here, and then we're going to, at the end, tie strap all this out of the way. But this goes into your machine wiring harness. One other part that comes with this kit is this jumper right here, and this is essential. That this relay right here, we need to kind of, there's the 2 thick wires are the white and the black wire, or it could be, I've seen them 2 black. In this case, it's white and blue. It will depend on the manufacturer of this refrigeration system. So the two heavy wires, in this case, this kit will come with a jumper that will be an exact fit. And basically what we're doing, we're just connecting this because we need to complete this circuit. So that's done. You could leave this, it's not going to hurt if you leave this in here. The next step, what we're going to do, I'm going to peel away this putty because this section here is the colder section of the vending machine. So I'm just going to kind of peel this away. I do it from the front and the back. There's about an inch of material here that that I need to have open so I could feed the temperature probe through here. So this stuff all gradually comes out. So I almost have a clear pathway through. And the temperature probe, this is a universal module, so this is very long. In some machines we need several feet. In this machine only about 8 or 9 inches. You cannot cut this, so we're going to just push this through as much as need be, and then we'll tie strap it neatly. So now I'm going to feed this through the access hole that I just opened up. So now I have it on this side. Basically what we're going to do with this is place this on top of or in the exact position as the existing temperature probe. So I'm going to pull this through about 15 inches. All right, so here's the temperature probe, and what I'm doing, I always kind of follow the existing harness, and I'm going to kind of, I'm leaving it in place. It may or may not be working. One of the components that fails, but I like to use that just to do a nice clean installation. With this kit, it does include tie straps, so I'm just going to tie strap this in place. This basically in the same area, and I'll use maybe 3 total tie straps here to just keep this nice and clean. You could remove this temperature probe if you elected to, and then just you could mount this yourself if you'd like, but for the most part, most people don't want to use temperature probe, and it makes it go a little bit quicker. So here, now I've tie strapped it. Just going to use a pair of cutters to kind of cut this away. And then in the earlier step on both sides of this, you kind of remove this black putty. So it's very important that on both sides get an equal amount, that you don't want any air coming through here and getting into the cooled section of your refrigeration system. Okay, installation is almost complete. I've put the black putty here to prevent the warm air from getting in the refrigerated section. Again, this you want to use tie straps, so if you use this as a temporary tool, if you're using this to fix this system while you're waiting on parts, or you in this case could leave it in permanently, you kind of want to have access to this temperature probe in case you ever need to use it again. So I've just kind of tied it up here nice and neat, and I'm going to kind of compress all these wires just to give everything airflow, and I don't want anything touching the compressor that would be hot. So basically at this point, these 2 connectors right here, technically you do not need to connect them. Like installing this part, you've bypassed the relay and you've bypassed the temperature control. That's very important, again, if your control board didn't work, which is very common. Some of these like Ciega and these other little combo machines is very expensive fixing the control boards, and a lot of case for our customers, we just tell them to put this in and it saves them a ton of money, and then they kind of have a brand new part. This is a brief overview of installation of our universal temperature controller. This particular machine, this is an AP120 series, it's refrigerated. Basically, you'll know it's designed to go in a machine that has this gray LCD. These little refrigeration boards kind of fail a lot. I don't know if they're still available. So basically, this is just an overview of how you would install this part in a vending machine. It's very simple. What I'm going to do just for safety purposes is I always turn the machine off. For this particular machine, the power is, I'm going to disconnect the refrigeration system, which is at this connector. And on this particular machine, it seems that the refrigeration fan motor always blows, even though the machine is turned off. But basically, there's only one way to connect it. I'm going to connect it here. This male goes back into this connector right here. The tab goes to the outside and faces outwards. So here, basically what this is showing, just my ambient temperature is 78.2 degrees. And then the final segment of this movie, I'm going to kind of talk about how to see what the temperatures are set and how to set your temperatures. One very, very important thing to remember: when this is blinking saying working, it's not going to turn on the refrigeration system. So when we program these and send them out, we put a 15-minute delay in there, just so you can't kind of short cycle your refrigeration system and damage it. So at this point, the connecting it to the power is done. Here we have our temperature probe. These are very long, kind of make it universal to fit a lot of vending machines. And just, your vending mechanic will understand that. Here's where we had our original control board, and this was connected to the temperature sensor, also electronic. So what you'll be doing to finalize the installation, this panel will move upward, and then you'll see a small 2-wire temperature probe that's connected here. And basically what you could leave that in place, but the real goal is that'll give you an idea of the proper placement for this. So you kind of want to follow the wire back all the way down to the refrigeration system, mount this in the same exact place that the original engineers for this automatic products had their temperature probes. This item, the temperature controller, we recommend just mounting it here. It will have Velcro, so it'll sit on this black pad. Sometimes if this pad is not porous enough, you may have trouble mounting it. You could mount it on the side of the machine, but I mean, ideally, if you can mount it this way, so you can kind of see the temperature that your cabinet is currently set at, is ideal. Here's an overview of our universal refrigeration controller, and I just kind of want to show you some things. Right now, very important that this working is blinking, and while this is blinking, this is not going to activate your refrigeration system. When we send this to you, we put in a 15-minute time delay, basically just to prevent hard starts to keep your refrigeration system in good shape. So this working blinking, don't be alarmed if your system doesn't come on. Basically, it will be that way for up to 15 minutes. Just to kind of show you how to use these buttons. When I press this up button, right now it's 39 degrees, and it's blinking because it will not turn on. But basically this 39 degrees is when your refrigeration system is going to turn on. So when it gets as warm as 39, it's programmed to come on. Now I'm going to press the down. So this is 34 degrees. So this is the temperature where your refrigeration system will go off because it's already cool enough. It's blinking right now because it's in its idle mode. I mean, in some cases when you push them, they'll be steady on, and that means that, if there's power here, this output power going to your refrigeration system, it would turn it on. This 75.2 is just showing the ambient temperature here, so this will increase as I put heat on it. So this is going to be the temperature that's in your cabinet. When this setting right here is our most popular that we send out for refrigerated machines, typically soda machines. We do offer this for frozen food machines, and those are kind of ordered by the machine type, so based upon what the manufacturer wants the temperature. Like for ice cream or frozen, it could vary a bit. You can, in fact, change it yourself. I'm going to go ahead and explain this. So what I'm going to go do, I'm going to press the set button and hold this for 3 seconds. So HC is the first menu that's come up, and we're going to go ahead and I'll just explain this. So this is for heating or cooling. So I'm going to press set. And I want to make sure it's C for cooling. So that's very important, otherwise your temperatures will work the opposite way. So I'm going to go ahead and press set, and this basically takes me back. I'm going to press up. This right here is LB, so I'm going to press set. So the 34 degrees, this is when your refrigeration system goes off. So if your drinks were too cold, basically you would push the up button. I could raise this to 36 degrees so your drinks won't get quite as cold. Just depends, like some people could use this in a refrigerated machine that just stays cool, like in Florida. That might be a bit too cool. So I'm going to go ahead and return this to 34 degrees because that's the standard way we send it out. Now I'll hit set, and I'm going to hit up, and now we're here at HB. So if I want to change this or program it, I'm pressing set 39. This right here is the temperature where your refrigeration system turns on. So if you wanted to keep your products colder, what you would do is lower this so it would come on earlier. It would come on at 38 degrees. So I'm going to return this to 39, which is how you receive it. If I press set, so now I'm going to press set. I'm going to press up. So this CA, I skip this. This very important, this P7, I do not recommend you change this, but you may want to. When I press set, it's set. When we send this to our customers, it's set for 15 minutes. This basically is how long your refrigeration system will not come on. It's basically a time delay to prevent it from hard starting. It's going to come out at 15 minutes. If you were doing a lot of testing, you may want to reduce that. Or if you have a refrigeration person that doesn't like it coming on that often, then you would press up and increase that. Basically what just happened while I was talking to you, this reset, so you kind of have about 15 seconds to do this setting. So if you're programming in it, it goes back to the ambient temperature. All you would do is press set. Now we're going to press up, scroll through the menu, the CAI skip. So this P7 again is when we set is my 15 minutes. You can increase or lower that. Then you put it back here. So these would be the settings if you wanted to adjust the temperature from when you receive it from us. Otherwise, very typically, it's going to come with the 2 wiring harnesses just to make this really a 10-minute installation in your machine.